want to talk about Chanukah, but I want to talk a little bit about the hidden part of Chanukah. So, we're going to go back a few parshios. In Parshas Vayetze. So it says that Yaakov Avinu had a dream, and he woke up, and when he woke up, he found a jar of oil, and he took the jar of oil and he anointed a matzeva, which is a stone in remembrance of the dream that he had. And the question is as follows. Where did he get the oil from? We know that Esav sent his son to kill Yaakov. But Esav's son was a student of Yaakov, and he didn't really want to kill him. So Yaakov Avinu said, if you take away all my money, my clothing, everything that I have, then I will be very poor. And the Gemara says, Ani chashiv kimes, that a person who has nothing financially, monetarily, is considered like he's dead. So Yaakov said, if you take everything away, you can tell your father that you killed me. So the question is, and he took everything away. The question is, where did Yaakov get the oil from? If he gave everything to Eliphaz, that meant that he had nothing left. He wakes up from a dream. Where did he get his clothing from? So the Midrash says that when Eliphaz took all his clothing, he jumped into a little oasis, into a lake. Hashem, there was an Arab sheik that came to go swimming in the lake. So he took his clothing and put it on the edge. And the Midrash says that the Arab sheik drowned and Yaakov took his clothing. So we know where Yaakov got his clothing. The question is, where did he get the oil? And the Midrash says, there's two Midrashim. One says that God placed the oil next to his head so that when he would wake up, he would find this little jar of oil. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because the Midrash says that the jar of oil that they found in the Beis HaMikdash on Chanukah, that little teeny jar of oil, was the same jar of oil that Yaakov found when he woke up. What was special about this jar of oil? What was special was that no matter how much you poured it, it filled up. So they used this oil to anoint the Mishkan, the Beis HaMikdash, David HaMelech, Shlomo HaMelech, Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron, all the Kohanim, and this oil continually poured. What does this have to do with Chanukah? So if we go a little bit further into last week's reading of the Torah, Parashat Vayishlach, it says the following. Yaakov had a fight. He was left alone. You're never allowed to leave a Jew alone. But the minute that he was left alone, the Malach, the Satan, the Malach of Esav, attacked him. I would like to talk to you tonight a little bit about this fight. So it says the following. It says, Vayivasa Yaakov levado, he was left alone. Vayovet ish imo. Now, if you want to say, I know there are a lot of Israelis here, when you want to say that two people are fighting, you speak Ivrit, the word Vayovet means, in English, that they kicked up a lot of dust. If you want to say they had a war, you would say Vayilachem, L'chama, Vayilachem ish imo. But the Torah doesn't say Vayilachem. The Torah says Vayovet, which means that they kicked up a lot of dust. Who cares? Who cares how much dust they kicked up? Imagine I walked in here tonight and I told everyone here, don't go outside. Do you know why? There are two people right here on the corner. You know what they're doing? You're all in danger. You know what they're doing? They're kicking up dust. You'd say, Rabbi Wallerstein, go back to New York. What are you talking about? Kicking up dust? What does that have to do with it? What does that mean? I would tell you they're shooting each other, they're stabbing each other. Don't go outside right now. But they're kicking up dust. That's what the Torah tells us. The Torah tells us that the Malach of Esav and Yaakov Avinu were kicking up dust. Says Rashi, says the Midrash, that the dust from this fight went all the way to the Kisei HaKavod, to God's throne. That is impossible. If you kicked up dust in this room, no matter how much dust you had in this room, maybe it'll reach the ceiling. Maybe it'll reach the ceiling. It should go to God's throne. God's throne is in another world. So how could Rashi, how could the Midrash say that the dust from this fight went up to the next world, to the Kisei HaKavod? And if we look in the words in this fight, what happens? Vayar ki lo yochalo. The angel saw that he could not beat Jacob. He could not win. Vayiga bekaf yirecho. He hit him in his groin, in his thigh. But teka kaf yirecho Yaakov. He dislocated. If you know what dislocated is, when two things are separated. He dislocated his thigh. Ve'afto imo, when he kicked up this dust. So the rabbis asked, why does the Torah have to tell us again that he kicked up dust? What is this dust, everybody? When you learn this in Chumash, what is this dust? And does anyone here know that dust could dislocate your thigh? What's going on over here? A few more questions and then we'll answer them all, and I'll tell you why it's very important for all of us here tonight. Vayomer, the Malach said to Yaakov, let me go. Stop holding me here. Let me go. And the Malach said, I'll give you a bracha. What's your bracha? I'm going to change your name from Yaakov to Yisrael. That is not a bracha. If you came over to me tonight and you said, Rabbi Wallerstein, I am struggling in my panasah, in my shalom bayis. Could you please give me a bracha? What's your name? Harry. Okay, my bracha is you should become Michael. I said, Rabbi Wallerstein, what's going on? You're definitely not a chacham, that's for sure. You're not a makubal. So he's asking an angel for a bracha, and instead of giving him a bracha, he says, your name is Yaakov? Okay, now your name is Yisrael. And Yaakov doesn't say, okay, what's my bracha? No, he's done, he's happy. What's the bracha? Yeah, changing your name is a bracha. Chas v'shalom, something's wrong in Kabbalah, you change the person's name, but that's not the bracha. So what was his answer? And the last question is, now Yaakov asked the angel, what's your name? Rashi says, who was this angel? The Satan. Rashi knew who the angel was, and Yaakov fought a whole night with this angel, and he didn't know his name. Rashi had more Ruach HaKodesh than Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov knew his name. Yaakov knew he was fighting a whole night with the Satan. Why in the morning you're asking him his name? So the Satan answers him. You're asking me my name? What do you need to know my name for? And Yaakov doesn't say anything. He lets him go. What's going on over here? He asked him for a name. So, by Jewish people, when we ask the question of another Jew, they usually don't answer it. They usually ask you a question. So how's everything? So how's everything by you? Where do you come from? Where do you come from? We always answer questions with a question. But this was the Malach of Esav, he wasn't Jewish. So he asked the Malach, what's your name? He answers him back, what do you need to know my name for? Why didn't you just tell him, Ani Hasatan? Why didn't he answer the question? What is really going on here? This is very connected to Chanukah. What was going on here was as follows. The Satan knew that all of you would be in this room tonight. He knows that the Jewish nation will always be here. Hashem said, till the world is destroyed, till the end of the world, till Mashiach, my nation, I swear, will always be here. So he knew there would always be Jews in the world that keep his Torah and mitzvot. The Satan knew that. Vayar kilo yochalo. He saw, I will never be able to wipe out. He tried, Amalek, the Holocaust, many times they tried, but I'll never be able to wipe out the Jewish nation. But he said to Yaakov, I may not be able to wipe you out, but your children, I will affect your children. I can't affect you, I will affect your children. The Ha'afko Imo, ladies and gentlemen, the Satan said, I may not be able to stop them from keeping Shabbat. I may not be able to stop the men from coming to shul and putting on tzitzit and tefillin, but I'm going to make it dusty. What does dust do? Dust, the ladies always clean the furniture. They use lemon pledge in America to make sure that the furniture shines, because dust makes things dull. It takes the beauty away from shiny, beautiful things. Silver gets dusty, the furniture gets dusty, the drapes in the house get dusty. The koach of dust is really nothing. If you look at dust, right, you don't see. If I leave my furniture alone for a month in my house, you come in, right, you check out the cleaning lady, what do? The first thing you go is, you didn't clean my table, look what's going on here. Where'd it come from? You don't see it. You don't see it in the ear. It's just there. And what does it do? It takes away the beauty of anything. Said the Satan. Yeah, they're going to keep Shabbat, and they're going to put on tefillin, and they're going to keep Pesach maybe, but it's not going to be beautiful. It's going to be dull. I have to go to shul. I can't wait to get out of here. Today there's no tachanun, Baruch Hashem. We're going to make a kiddush. They always make a kiddush when there's no tachanun. Hashem, the rabbi's sick. No speech. 20 minutes early. Big party. They take out all the Johnny Walker Blue, all the scotch comes out. Baruch Hashem. What the Satan said is you Jews are going to do your mitzvot, but it's going to be boring, ugly, dull. I am a teacher for 38 years. The last time I was in California, I said that to a group of women, and they said, you don't even look like you're 38 years old. And that's why I come back to California. 38 years I'm teaching. In the last 10 years, I teach seminary, I teach high school. I told my group of girls to take a piece of paper and don't write your name on it. Write me 2 things in this world that you think are beautiful. I got sunrise, sunset, sounds like the fiddle on the roof. I got diamonds, a lot of girls wrote diamonds. I got poetry, art. Not one girl in 10 years, my seminary has 60 to 70 girls. So you're talking about 700 Jewish religious, Orthodox girls above the age of 18. Not one wrote beautiful, the Torah, Judaism, being a Jew, Pesach, Purim, Chanukah. Everything was in the physical world. I did it this week. I didn't make the speech. The speech comes after they do it. And a girl got up and said, Rabbi Wallerstein, what are you talking about? How could the Torah be beautiful? Beautiful things are physical things. Torah is not supposed to be beautiful. I said, this is the curse. This is the fight. This is what Esav did in that fight with Yaakov. And where did he hit him? He hit him in the groin. The groin is a representation of children. When Eliezer swore to Abraham that he would not take a girl from Canaan, he swore, he put his hand on Abraham Avinu's thigh. Rashi says, why his thigh? Because it represents children. So he was swearing on his children. So the Malach said, Yaakov, you think Torah is beautiful. But in 2016, in Tafshin Ayin Zayin, the Jews will keep the Torah, some of them, but even the ones that keep it will never look at it that it's beautiful. Shabbat is beautiful. Shabbat is boring. How am I going to make it through? Baruch Hashem, I have 15 magazines to read. Maybe I'll make it to the end of Shabbos. And the guys are like, I can go from house to house. I'll have a kiddush, a little scotch, a little bourbon, a little more scotch. I'll be so drunk that I won't even know that it's Shabbat. Okay? Even an ugly thing, if you drink enough, it looks beautiful. The beauty of being a Jew. The beauty of having a soul. It's full of dust. We're not proud. We're trying to hide who we are. I went to a Yankee game, this baseball game, this summer, and I went with my grandchildren. And there were a bunch of guys with Yankee caps, and they thought that you couldn't tell that they're Jews. And we were looking to make a mincha minyan, and I was walking, outside, and I went over to one of these guys. I'm like, "We're going to daven mincha in the corner." He said, "How do you know I'm Jewish?" I'm like, "You think you can wear a hat? You think I can't tell that you're Jewish? What, are you ashamed that you're Jewish? Like what? You don't want to daven mincha?" We're so ashamed of it. We're so not proud. Our children are not proud. We don't make Shabbat something that we're proud. How many women light candles 15 minutes before Shabbat? Because you're excited about it. Because it's beautiful. All the pictures, when you have the tefillah, you write some of the tefillah, so you have the picture, the woman standing there with her kids, there's a glow, big white glow by the candles and by her. I don't see no glows. Come running downstairs, it's ready 5 minutes into Shabbat, your hair is soaking wet, you're screaming, you're yelling, the kids aren't ready, you finally get to the candles, and and you're out. So what do you think your children, they're going to watch their mother do this, you think that she's going to love Judaism? Or when a father comes home and says how hard it is to be Jewish, you think the children are going to want to be Jewish? There's a very famous story with Rabbi Moshe Feinstein. There was a man in the old days in America, you couldn't keep Shabbos because they didn't give Saturday off. So in the 1930s and the 1920s, you got fired. You didn't show up on Saturday. When you came back Monday, they said you didn't come on Saturday, and you got fired. So the religious Jews, every Monday, try to find a new job. You know what that is? They would not give them off Saturday. In fact, there were many Jews that would go to early, that's where the early meaning comes from. It's called Hashkama, and that's why Hasidim don't have Hashkama. They used to daven at 7 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock they went to work. They didn't want to lose their job. So there's some shuls that won't daven at 7 o'clock because it's in memory of the guys that were Mechal Shabbat. So this man on the east side, every week lost his job. And then his he had three boys, every one of them were Mechal Shabbos when they got married. And I think 2 of them didn't even marry Jews. So this man went to Rabbi Moshe Feinstein and he said, "Rabbi, I gave up my life for Shabbat. I got fired every week. How can Hashem do this to me that all 3 of my boys are Mechalel Shabbat?" So Rabbi Feinstein asked him, "Tell me, when you used to come Friday night to the table, what did you say to the children?" So it's a Yiddish saying. Oy, it's a zoi schwer zu sein a Yid. Oy, it's so hard to be a Jew. Monday I gotta look for another job. So these children grew up hearing their father say, "Oy, it's so hard to be a Jew." If that's what you hear your father say, do you want to be a Jew? So Rav Moshe Feinstein said, "You're a big tzaddik what you did, but you told your children that it's very hard to be a Jew." Children don't want to do something that is very hard. And that's what the Satan did. He located, separated us from God. How? Not by saying, don't keep the mitzvot, by making it dusty, by making it not beautiful. And I'm not accusing anyone in here, but if you've never heard my shiurim before, men and women, and I gave you a piece of paper, and I said, write down one thing in this world that is beautiful, I don't think anyone would have written Judaism or Torah. Because in our heads, beauty is physical. The boys I gave the same paper, they wrote a Maserati, a Ferrari, a pretty girl. That's what they wrote. That's what's beautiful. Oh, car pulls up, a Maserati, and some guys wrote a mansion. One guy wrote a private jet. I don't know what his father does. Nobody wrote Torah. Shabbat. I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you two stories about Shabbat. You know, before I walked in here tonight, I don't know anyone here. I said to Hashem, I say it always before I speak, God, put in my mouth what they need to hear, not what I need to say. Because sometimes what I need to say is not what you need to hear. And many times what you need to hear, I wasn't prepared to say. So I'm going off. I'm going to veer off for 2 minutes because that's just what I feel I need to talk about. And that's, we're coming into I don't know how many of you are coming to the Shabbat, but we're coming into a Shabbat that is a very important Shabbat because the Greeks, the war of the Greeks, there were three things. There were three rules. You want to wear kippah? Greeks let you wear kippah. You want to wear tzitzit? No problem. You want to eat matzah? Have a good time. What were the three mitzvot they didn't allow us to have? One was Shabbat, because Shabbat is beautiful. Shabbat is our connection to God. One was Rosh Chodesh, because that makes all the holidays, which also connects us to God. And the third thing was Bris Milah. Bris Milah represents Jewish purity. They said, purity and beauty does not belong to the Jew. It belongs to Yavan. It belongs to the Greeks. Hercules, Venus, Zeus, the Olympics, competition, body, physical, that's what the Greeks believed in. So you cannot have beauty. And they understood that what should be beautiful by a Jew, what are the three things we should take away? Shabbat should be beautiful, Rosh Chodesh, which is holiday, should be beautiful, and purity should be beautiful. Those were the three things. Let me tell you two stories about Shabbat. So, in New York, maybe not in LA, we have a big problem. One of our big problems is that on Shabbat, guys get drunk. Get drunk, they go to this kiddush and to that kiddush, and to this guy's house, and everybody's got competition, blue label, green label. The bottle has to be older than them, it has to be 21 years old, 18 years old. You think you're going for a shidduch? How old the bottle has to be. Maybe they get a bottle resume, I'm not sure. Right? But it's very, very important. And by the time they get home, they're mamish, they're half drunk, they're all fuzzy. It's a very big problem. And I got up in New York, and I told them the following story. So Shabbat is being attacked, even in the religious Orthodox. Some of our kids are on their phones on Shabbat. It's becoming a very big thing. It's called Have Shabbat, and quietly behind their parents' back, even the ones that are Shomer Shabbat, they use their phones on Shabbat. And when the parents catch them because they see the bill and they bring them to me, I'm like, these are girls that would not take a bone out of fish. These are girls that would not take a cup of hot water directly. They'd have to have Kaylee Shaney. And they're on their phone on Shabbat. They're texting each other. They're WhatsApping each other. I'm like, what are you doing? How could you do that? It's Shabbat. And they're like, I'm addicted. It's an addiction. Hashem understands. Hashem understands addiction. Why Shabbat more than unkosher, more than anything else? Why is the Satan now, his main thing is that we should not keep Shabbat? And the answer is as follows. So, there's a story, there was a man who was married to his wife and he loved her very, very much. and it was their 30th anniversary, and he wanted to buy her something special. It was a woman who had everything. So he comes to his jeweler, and he says, I want a ring that's going to be different than any other ring that you've ever made. And the jeweler says, I'll make you a ring with a 9-carat diamond. He goes, she has diamonds. I don't know if that's going to do it. He goes, how about a ruby? She has rubies. How about a sapphire? How about pearls? Go through every jewel. And the guy says, each one of them she has. He says, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to make a ring that has every single jewel on it. The biggest diamond, sapphire, ruby, pearls, gold, and it's going to work together. It's going to be something I never created. It's going to be something just for you, because you're a very good customer of mine. And the guy works on it, and he works on it, and he comes back and he shows him this ring. In his whole life, he never saw such a ring. Crazy expensive, but for his wife, he loves her, anything. So tonight, some of the women are going to go home and say, hey, don't you love me? Where's my ring? Go talk to Rabbi Wallerstein. So he comes, you can imagine, he's so excited. He's going to give his wife, it's not the present, it's the anticipation of the reaction of the person that you give the present to. The present's very nice, it's a ring, but if you give it to someone and they're like, the whole thing's worthless. If you buy them something for 20, a rose, and she goes crazy, right? So that this is as good as a ring. It's the anticipation of how the person will react to what you give her. So he wraps, he steams it up, it's shiny, it's gorgeous. You never saw such a thing. He's like, oh, my wife's gonna go crazy. Usually you should not buy jewelry, just a little advice to the men. You should not buy jewelry for your wife and surprise her. Take her to the store. Then she'll say, ooh, I love that, but don't buy it. And that's the one you buy. Because when I got engaged, I'll never forget it. I bought my wife, I was in yeshiva, and I went into a jewelry store. What did I know? I didn't know anything. And the jeweler said to me, this is a long time ago, 38 years ago, and he said, tiger eye, it's a little jewel, tiger eye earrings, they are so in. So I was a yeshiva boy, okay. I bought her a pair of tiger eye earrings. I gave it to her. She was like, wow, they're beautiful. I'm engaged, Shabbat, I don't see it. We go to parties and I don't see it. I'm married, I don't see it. She never put them on. So finally, after about 2 years, I'm like, Esty, wear the tiger. Why don't you wear that? She goes, Zecharia, that is the ugliest pair of earrings I ever saw in my life. I didn't want to hurt your feelings, whatever it is. So from then on, I'm like, let's go to the store, let's just look around. She's like, don't you ever buy that for me. Okay, that's what it's surprise. You have to be careful with surprises. But anyway, so here he is, he's all excited. You have to imagine this. He's all excited, and he has this ring. And he comes home, and he says, happy anniversary, darling. Wow, I bought you something. Oh, you didn't have to. Come on, I didn't buy you anything. He goes, I don't need anything. I really bought you something. He said, I know you're the woman who has everything, because you have me. But I went out, and I spent a lot of time, and I hope you love it. And she goes, okay, let me see what you got. And it said wrap, she unwraps it, and then it's in a box, and then it's in a felt, and she takes it out, and she picks it up, and the thing is shining, all these different jewels. It's like 10 different colors coming out of this ring. You never saw anything like this. And she looks at it. She said, this is what you bought me? This is the ring? He goes, yeah, don't you love it? Love it! It's ugly! I hate it! And she throws it on the floor and stamps. That's what you bought me? That's what you made me? That's what you think is nice? Take your ring and throw it back at the jeweler. And never all the stones are flying all over the floor. The ring is smashed. In this room, there's no one that could even understand, because none of us bought such a ring. No one that could even understand the hurt and the pain that this husband has. At least fake it. At least say, thank you. It's beautiful. Doesn't look good on me. Something nice. Throw it on the floor and smash it. You smashed my heart. You smashed my soul. That's what the Satan wants us to do to God. You see, when God married us by Har Sinai, He made a chuppah, Har Sinai, over our head. He gave us kiddushin. He gave us the two luchos, who were made out of sapphire. But He came up, I'll read you the medrash. I don't have it in front of me. I'll read you the medrash. Whoever wants to hear it. It's the most beautiful medrash I ever heard. It says God came up to His angels and He said, we're married. Chuppah, kiddushin. But you have to give the kala a present. I have to give my bride a present. So He said, I'm going to go into my treasury, into my safe deposit box, and I'm going to find the most beautiful jewel that God's talking about, that I own. It says the medrash that he went into his treasury and he pulled out shabbat. And he said, this is the most beautiful thing I've got in the world. The most beautiful thing I have to give to my kala, ushma, Shabbat. And that's what he gave us. And the Satan said, I know how to break the relationship between the Jewish nation and God. They do Aveirot. I mean, it's a haram. I get them to do Aveirot. Hashem's going to forgive them. They don't know any better. 2,000 years, they don't have a base of Mikdash. We're in gullahs. They don't see me. You know, like a married person tries to make excuses for the one he's married to. But there's no excuse to take his most beautiful present and step on it and say, I don't want it. I don't want any part of it. It is not beautiful. I don't want Shabbat. Keep your Shabbat. It's ugly. That the Satan knows will break the marriage. The description of a religious Jew is Shomer Shabbat. Not Shomer Brit, not Shomer Negiah, not Shomer Kashrus. The description of the ultimate connection of a Jew with God is, are you Shomer Shabbat? And when we're not, we're taking Hashem's present. It's not the law, it's the present. It's the most beautiful thing He gave us, and we're taking it. We don't want it. It's over. Shabbat's over. I always talk about this. Shabbat's over. Everyone's running. They're looking at their watch. My gosh, if Shalashur goes, I'm a speaker. The one time I'll never overspeak my time is Shalashur before Myra. They will rip your head off. If Myra's supposed to be at 8 o'clock and it's 8:01 and you're still speaking, they start throwing herring at you. You finish. It's over. That's it. If you're Svadi, they'll throw lach machine, whatever it is. Why are you such a rush? Where are you going? You're sitting with God with His greatest present. So when you run out, imagine you have a date with a girl, right? And mamish, like the natural, supposed to be a date in the religious circles is 3 hours. And imagine if the whole time on the date, the guy's looking at his watch. He's like, why are you looking at your watch? Because the minute I do 3 hours, I'm out of here. That's the relationship. So we make Shabbat as late as we can, and we get out of Shabbat as early as we can. That shows God what we think of His beautiful ring. And the Malachim said to God, don't give them Shabbat. They won't keep it. Don't give them Shabbat. Give them something else. Keep Shabbat up here with us. And Hashem said, your angels, they will keep Shabbat. I will give them my present. So, no matter what we're doing or we're not doing, the one thing that we have to be the most careful with is that ring. And that ring is Shabbat. And He made Shabbat very boring and very dull and very unexciting. And therefore, the Malach said, I will dislocate you. It's not a milchama, it's avak. I will take putting on tefillin, wearing tzitzis, being tzniut, all the mitzvahs. I will take it, I will make it as dull as possible. I went yesterday to a Jewish bookstore to buy oil for my menorah. So now they have, for the last couple of years, First of all, they're very cute things. They probably have it here too. They have a blue candle. You light it and it sings Ma'asu. The candle sings. Because we're so lazy that we can't even sing. It's like, it's okay, I don't have to sing. The candle's singing. So they made a candle that sings. Could you imagine? We should, we're crazy. They made a candle that sings. And then, you go to any store here, God forbid your hands should get oil on them. No. You buy the ones in the glass that are already made, you don't have to do nothing. It says on it, clean, greaseless, oilless, no more stains, no more nothing. So people come home, they pop it in, they light it. I can't believe you're supposed to wait a half hour. Nobody waits a half hour, right? And you're out of there as fast as you can. When you go to a party, can't wait to get out of the party. Oh my God, we gotta go to my mother and my grandmother and sit there. What are we gonna do there, right? Nobody plays dreidel. That's maybe poker, maybe cards, but not dreidel. And the whole Chanukah, it used to be such an unbelievable yom. I personally do not buy those ready-made. I make, because I saw this by my father, every wick for every single night. I buy cotton balls, which you have to be careful with because they sell them in CVS. It says cotton balls, but they're made out of nylon. And nylon doesn't burn, it melts. So you got to make sure it says 100% cotton. And I sit there and I take every wick and I make it and I dip it in the oil, both sides, and my hands stink from olive oil or Hashem. Because to me, it's something beautiful. I don't want an automatic menorah. It's like an electric menorah. I don't want an automatic menorah. I want to feel Chanukah. I want to smell olive oil. I want to be part of the mitzvah. The mitzvah is beautiful to me. So when my lights are burning, I look at them. Those are my wicks that I made. At least I didn't squeeze the oil. I'm not asking you to squeeze the oil. But at least I used oil. I did something. There's a store. I don't know if you have it here. Pesach. Same story. Same story. You buy maror, it's already ground. Charoses, already made. Honestly, you can come to New York. There's a store in New York. I don't want to say the name of the supermarket on 18th Avenue in Brooklyn. There are plenty, so you don't know which one it is. They sell, for Pesach, a jar of salt water. 99 cents a jar. I came to buy it to show my class. He was sold out. People won't even take water and mix it with salt. Made, already done. We lost the beauty. We lost our hands getting dirty. We lost Purim totally. Purim, what do we do for Purim? I don't know, people send me cards for Shlach Manos. Sometimes even from California. Instead of Shlach Manos this year, we donated $18 to Chanukah Shabbos in your name. You want to give $18 to Chanukah Shabbos? Do it. But send me food. Shlach Manos is food, not a card. They're so lazy that they won't even go to the store. And we know what happens in the store. You buy yourself 10 Shlach Manos, you write out your cards, right? You send it to your friend. What does your friend do? He takes the card out, he writes it to the next guy. My Shlach Manos, usually at the end of the day, I get all 10 back. What they don't know is on the bottom, I write Wallerstein. They don't see it, right? I'm like, sure, thank you, you gave me back my Shlach Manos. It went through 20 guys, right? So we're not interested, we're not interested. It's dusty, let's get out of here, let's get over with it. Every holiday, do any holiday you want to go through. Every holiday, sukkahs. Push a button, it pops up on its own. Right? That's what they sell, pop-up sukkahs. You think it's in memory of the sukkahs that when Kleisel went out of Mitzrayim. You think they had pop-up sukkahs out of Mitzrayim? Lighters, pop-up sukkah? They had to cut down trees. When I was a child, we had to carry bamboo on our shoulders. We got bamboo splinters. It was a whole thing. It took a whole night to carry them up, to carry them down. Now you get 3 mats, you flip it on, you pop it, you go to Disney World, you see people, it says on it, less than 2 minutes, and your sukkah's up. So now you expect your children to appreciate Judaism? That's what the Satan said. Yaakov. I may not be able to stop them from doing sukkahs. I may not be able to stop them from Pesach. I may not be able to stop them from Shabbat. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm going to make it ugly, and I'm going to make it boring, and I'm going to make it dull. The one time that the Jewish nation did not settle for second best is this holiday, this Chanukah. How do we know this? So, if you read Al Hanisim, when you pray, when you bench or when you daven Shemona Esrei, Al Hanisim does not say one word about the miracle of the candles. The whole Chanukah is, ask anyone in this room, what's the miracle? It's supposed to last for 1 day, it lasted 8 days. My mother, by the way, she's not here, she's in New York, she makes miraculous, you'll appreciate this, she makes miraculous latkes. Just like the candles, you eat it 1 day and it burns for 8. She's not here, I can say it again. If she finds out I said that, I'm in trouble. So, if you read Al Hanisim doesn't say anything about the miracle. It talks about the war, and then at the end it says, after the war, Bo Bonecha, your children came, they came to clean out the Heichal, the Beis HaMikdash, they made it Tomor, they lit the menorah, and they made Chanukah. You're already telling me about rabbis, you're telling me about the menorah, so why don't you say, and there was only enough oil for 1 day, and it lasted 8 days. It does not say one word in Al Hanisim, which is the only thing we say special about Chanukah. We say Halal, but about Chanukah, you don't say one word about the miracle. You said, they came to the Beis HaMikdash, they cleaned it up, and they lit the candles. Right. So, why doesn't it say that there was a miracle of 8 days? Beautiful answer. So, there's a Jewish law that it's called Tumah Hudra B'Tziva. That means, if most of Jews are tameh, are impure, which they were, because they went to war, and they didn't have a paradum or the red calf, so everybody was tameh. They were coming out of, they had no Beis HaMikdash, everybody was tameh. So that the law is that if everybody is tameh, or most people are tameh, then you're allowed to use things that are tameh, that are impure. So the Jews did not need a miracle. All the cans of oils that the Greeks broke, and they were no longer tahar, they were allowed to use it. They did not need a miracle. They did not have to look for a little teeny jar. So why did they? And why would God make a miracle if you don't need one? So the Maccabees, the Hashmonaim, they understood who the Greeks were. They understood that the beauty of the Greeks was very different than the beauty of the Jews. And the Greeks were trying to make the Jews understand that beauty is only skin deep. Beauty is the same. Beauty is skin deep. That beauty is only physical. So we came out of a few hundred years of the Greek Empire, and the Kohanim had to fix it. So we came to the Beis HaMikdash, we had all this oil that was impure that we were allowed to use. And they said, if we don't bring beauty back to Judaism, they will fall back into what the Greeks taught them. We will lose the whole nation. So better to use one little jar of purity than thousands of jars of impurity. Better to have pure light for 1 night than impure light for 8 nights. So what we say in Al Hanisim is that they came into the Beis HaMikdash and they cleaned it and they made it pure way before they lit the candles. They said, God, I'm going to give you something that's much smaller because it's only one little can, but I'm going to give you something that's pure and beautiful. And because we said that to God, God said, how could I let my children who are so focused on purity and to give me something pure, how could I let them be in darkness for the other 7 days? We forced the miracle. Had we just taken the impure oil, God would not have to make a miracle. There was enough oil for 8 days. We didn't settle for impurity. We didn't settle for oil that was not beautiful. And therefore, Hashem made the miracle because we didn't settle for less. And we're coming into a Shabbat, which was his present to us. And we're coming into a holiday, which is Chanukah, where a long time ago, a little group of Jews, 5 guys, 5 Kohanim, came into the Beis HaMikdash and said, nothing impure, nothing not beautiful. The Jews have to see the candles, that they're burning, that they're beautiful, and that they're pure. And even though it's only going to last for one day, it's only going to last for one moment, that'll be enough to change the nation from no longer being Greek. And they were right. And that's what Chanukah is. So when we go into Chanukah, we have to think about what they did all those years ago. And we have to start looking at the religion that we keep and the relationship that we have with God as something very, very beautiful. And one of the ways to do it is within your heart and within your soul to find one mitzvah, whatever it is, it's your choice. I'm not telling you what to pick. Whatever that mitzvah is of the 613, just take one and make it pure. And make it shining. And make it something you're proud of. And make it something that if I came back next year and I said, tell me one thing that's beautiful, you would write down, my beautiful mitzvah is. Then you know you had a good Chanukah. Because if you could find in your heart something to make pure, then God will take that little teeny jar, that one little mitzvah that you decided, and he will do miracles. It will change your whole life. And that's what this Chanukah is all about. And we're losing this war in a very big way. The iPhone, technology, that's all kids want to know about. No one's interested, not only kids, adults. Nobody's interested in anything else. And an iPhone is not beautiful. An iPhone is dead. It's a piece of metal. It has no soul. It does not love. It does not hate. It's a piece of metal with no heart. And our relationships with our children and our parents and our siblings, that's heart. It's real. And we're giving that away for a machine. You know, it's an interesting thing. The keyboard on a computer, I'm sure you all have computers, it says enter, right? When you want to put something in, it says enter. But it doesn't say exit anywhere on the keyboard. It says escape. Why would someone write escape? What's the opposite of enter? Exit. Because they understood that once you go in, you can't exit. Maybe you'll be able to escape. Chanukah is a time to sit with your family. And we had a minhag in my family. When the whole family got together, children, grandchildren, parents, we sat around the table and everyone said one miracle that happened to them that year. Now you're thinking, the car accident, I got out. No. It's a miracle to wake up every day. It's a miracle to be able to see, to smell, to taste, to touch, the 5 senses, everything. It's amazing. It shouldn't only happen on Chanukah, it should happen every morning when you walk out of the house. It's amazing to be able to see. It's unbelievable. Every single day before I walk out of my house, I'm not a big tzaddik. Every single day I stand by the door, I put my hand on the mezuzah. Now it's freezing, in the summer it's hot, and I'm like, my eyes are closed, I'm like, thank you, God, that I can feel. No one in this room understands. You should never know, God forbid, when a person has a stroke and their hand, they cannot feel anything. The doctor takes needles and starts to stick it in their arms from their shoulders down, and the people in the room are waiting for him to scream, ouch! Scream ouch till you feel! Then we can have a refuah! And they start all the way up at the head, and they go to the toe. Just say ouch at the toe. And God forbid, the person's paralyzed. He doesn't say ouch. Ouch could be the most hopeful, beautiful word that you ever heard in your life. To be able to feel, to be able to close your eyes, put your hand and know if it's soft or hard, cold or hot. To know this is a sefer, and this is a mic without seeing it. These are computers. Your fingers are computers. They tell you everything. To be able to hug a child, to be able to feel. Do you know what kind of present you have every single day? And my eyes are closed. And I'm like, Hashem, thank you that I can feel. Thank you that I can taste. I just had a coffee or a tea. I can taste the lemon in the tea and the tea and the taste of the tea. That Hashem gives you a tongue and a sense of taste that you can go to a restaurant. You have some good ones here. And you have a good chef. And in one piece of meat, there's the beginning is this taste and that taste and the other taste. Or people who drink wine, who understand wine, the beginning of the wine and the end of the wine and the middle of the wine. Hashem had to give you that. Everything should taste the same. Be able to taste every spice. It's amazing. Do you appreciate it? Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful to be able to feel? Isn't it beautiful to be able to taste? And my next thing that I do, my eyes are still closed. And I'm like, thank you, Hashem, that I can hear. And I'm standing by my door in Flatbush. Usually I hear a garbage truck, but okay, not always. And sometimes I hear birds, and I'm like, thank you, Hashem, that I live in a world of sound. To live in a world that you can't hear anything. There's no music. There's no laughter. There's no voices. God forbid, Baruch Hashem, I can hear. Thank you, Hashem, that I can smell. I have a mint plant, and I have lemongrass growing in front of my house, and I don't leave until I crush the leaves and make a bracha. Borei Ispe B'Samim, thank you, Hashem. I can smell. I don't get you, God. I don't understand you. They're both growing from the same piece of earth. How come this one smells like mint and this one smells like lemon? They're both coming from the earth. And when I smell the earth doesn't smell from anything. How'd you pull that off? And who'd you do it for? For me. Thank you, God, for doing this for me that I could smell. Anyone here who ever had a very bad cold and your nose was stuffed? You can't taste anything that you eat. You don't have an appetite if you can't smell. And sometimes smelling something bad is good. Yesterday morning, my wife asked me to make a coffee, and it was exactly the date on the milk of that day. And I'm like, I better, before I pour it in and watch all the white stuff float on top, I'm going to smell it. And I smelled it, it was off. Baruch Hashem. Didn't waste the coffee. And to smell something that's good, wow. And then the final one, which is, I opened my eyes. Thank you, Hashem, I could see from both my eyes. Chas v'shalom, to live in a world of darkness. Go home tonight. Try to close your eyes for an hour in your house. Your eyes will be open within 3 minutes. You know why? Because you're going to think, maybe I went blind. I got to make sure I'm not. Yeah. You can't go an hour with your eyes closed in the dark. Thank you, I can see colors, people. I can read a book. But I couldn't see. Live in a world of darkness. I can't hear. Live in a world of no sound, no smell, no feelings. Take one of those things and make it beautiful. The ability to see is so beautiful, Hashem. Thank you so much. You are beautiful. That's a high level. To look at God as a being that is beautiful. But one who brings beauty must be beautiful. How would you know how to bring beauty if you yourself are not beautiful? So God has to be much more beautiful than even the things that we see in this world. And that's what the Greek says. No, Rabbi Wallerstein, a girl is beautiful. A Maserati is beautiful. A bank book with a couple of million. A deal is beautiful. What a beautiful deal. I just flipped the house and made $5 million. What a beautiful deal. What a beautiful God. What a beautiful Torah. What a beautiful nation. What a beautiful Shabbos. What a beautiful Chanukah. Someone said, dust in the wind, Yaakov Avinu, I'm going to dislocate them. In 2016, an Apple store is beautiful. Not you, God. So Yaakov said to the Esau, what's your name? How are you going to do that? What's your source? When you ask someone their name, you're asking them their source. I know you're the Satan. How are you going to get my children not to view Judaism as beautiful? And the Satan answered him. He said, Lama zeh tishal lishmi. You want to know my name? My name is Why Ask Questions. Just do it, Nike. Satan was the first guy, they think the Nike guy with the sneakers. He told Yaakov Avinu, Lama zeh tishal shmi. You want to know my name? Don't ask questions. Don't ask about who's God, where's God. Don't appreciate looking and hearing what wants these temples up. Just go through your life, party, have a good time, and who cares? Lama zeh tishal lishmi. That's my name. So why did Yaakov let him go? Don't let him go. Should have beat him up. Yaakov said, give me a bracha. What is the biggest bracha, ladies and gentlemen? This I'm finishing. Right? The biggest bracha was the bracha that the Satan gave Yaakov. You know what he said? Don't call yourself Yaakov anymore. Call yourself Yisrael. You know what Yisrael stands for?
Wrestling with God.
Yasha Kale. Seeing straight. God. Yasha Kale. Being able to see straight who God is. No dust in your eyes. No dust on Yiddishkeit. So he said, my bracha to you is that in 2016, the Jewish nation should be able to see straight. No dust in their eyes. No sand in their eyes. Yaakov said, okay, bye. Now you can go. Because if that's true, Yasha Kale, they're able to see straight, clearly. They'll never ever find beauty anywhere else but in a God's Torah. And that's very connected to Chanukah. Because on Chanukah, we, as a nation, did not settle for anything that wasn't perfectly clean and pure and beautiful and bright. And that's why it says in Al-Anisim, after they cleaned it, they lit it, and we called it Chanukah because we forced the miracle. Can we do this again, ladies and gentlemen? Can we just give God one pure mitzvah and force him because we're showing him how much we love him and the beautiful ring that he gave us with the Shabbat? Can we make this Shabbat coming up, which is the first night of Chanukah, Motzei Shabbat, can we give him a pure Shabbat? Can we pick up the ring and put all the stones back together and say, wow, we never had a piece of jewelry like this. And maybe if we do what they did on Chanukah, Hashem will say, you gave me purity, now I will make the nace of Chanukah again. And the difference between the nace of Chanukah and the nace of Purim is the nace of Purim is a hidden nace, and the nace of Chanukah is a revealed nace. What is the next great miracle that God swore to us would not be a secret miracle, but a revealed miracle? Mashiach. May the schus of us keeping the Shabbat and giving him this pure and understanding that everything he gives us is beauty and life is beauty because life is potential, and that we're not going to waste our life on some machines, but we're going to take our life and we're going to give it to God and to our children and to our husbands and to our wives. The most precious thing that everyone in this room has is time. Because you can live without eating, well, some of us can live without eating for a minute. You can live without drinking. You can live without breathing. You can hold your breath for 2 minutes. The only thing you can't live without for even a millionth of a second is time. Once you have no more time, it's over. So the most precious thing that everyone in this room has is time, and that's why it's so hard to give that to others. I do a lot of Shalom Bayis. We're going to talk to Shabbat a lot about it, and we're going to talk about the subject a lot between husbands and wives. And a lot of them come to my house and they want to get divorced. They're married 10 years, 20 years, 12 years, 2 years, 3 months. Doesn't make a difference. And every woman says the same thing. I always let them talk. I'm not stupid. I let them talk first. And I'm like, so why are you here? You're not here to tell me that marriage is great. Why are you here? And every woman says the same thing. My mayor, my chaim, whatever it is, we're married 15 years. And Wallerstein, he does not love me anymore. We're married a year. He does not love me anymore. And I'm like, and every guy answers says, like, you see, Rabbi, this is the problem. She doesn't understand. I'm like, she does understand. she's saying you don't love her anymore. So what do you mean? I don't know why guys say this, but they always say the same thing. I pay the mortgage. That doesn't mean you love someone. And I leased her a new car. And I let her go shopping, and I don't even look at the bills. I mean, come on, my friends look at the bills. I love her more than anyone else. And she's like, my father, before I got married, he used to pay the bills. And he also paid the mortgage. And he also got me a car. I didn't marry you for that. I didn't marry you for that. So he goes like, so then why did you marry me? Because I wanted to spend some time with you. Because I really love you and I really want to spend time with you. And the guys are like, really? And I'm like, okay, we can fix it. I can fix it. Go for 3 days on a honeymoon. Leave your kids by your mother-in-law. And I'm even going to tell you where to go. And leave your phones. And all your wife wants is 3 days' time. And it'll be fixed. You know what the guy said to me? Well, Rabbi, do the 3 days have to be like in a row? We're going to do like one this month and then 3 1. And like 3 days off of work. The guy's married 22 years. His wife saying, I want to get out of here. And he's like, 3 days off of work? I'm like, your marriage is at stake. You have 6 kids. Like, what are you doing? Time is a very hard thing to give someone else. It's a very hard thing to give someone else because time is life. Time is potential. You can't live without it. So the Sultan created these phones so that the one thing he's going to steal away from all of us is our time. You're on the phone for 3 hours, you're WhatsApping, you're this, that, and at the end, what do you have? Nothing. You have nothing. There's no one in this room that can't find a kid. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. First of all, any grandparents in this room, you should know that you are the greatest resource of the generation. My generation, my grandparents all died in the Holocaust. There were no grandparents. This generation has grandparents and great-grandparents. My grandchildren, my house, my wife specifically, is their place to go, safe place, loving place. There's no criticism. A parent has to discipline. A grandparent should not discipline. It is a resource that we didn't have in my generation. There are so many kids that are saved by their grandparents. So one of the things that we need to take on is to give more time to the people that we really love, and our kids and our husbands and our wives, and to take that phone when you come home and put it in a basket for the first hour so that the husband shows the wife and the wife shows the husband, and the kids, everyone puts the phone in the basket. 1 hour, and you have to turn it off, because if you're going to start buzzing, you're going to start fighting. It's my phone, it's his phone, it's important, you have to turn it off. If you can't turn it off, if you can't turn your phone off for 1 hour to be with your wife, or a wife to be with her husband, to be with the kids together for 1 hour in your house with no phones, you are sick. Very sick. And you need to go to rehab. They just opened a rehab in Utah. I'm serious, I'll send you there. A rehab in Utah for the addiction of technology. If you can look at your wife or your husband and your children and say, this is more important. This machine is more important than my children and my wife and my husband. You are never ill. And you need help. If you can't turn, what's addiction? Addiction is when you come to realization you can't live without it. So every drug addict says to me, because I deal with them, every drug addict says to me, Rabbi Wallerstein, if I want to stop, I could stop. So I'm like, so then why don't you stop? Well, right now I don't want to stop. I'm like, no, you cannot stop. So everyone's like, oh, if I don't want to have my phone, I won't turn it on. Believe me, your hands start to shake. You start to feel, I have this on Shabbat, I'm no better than anyone else. I have my phone in my pocket all the time. I don't know where it is. Oh, yeah. So I don't have a smartphone. I have a learning disabled phone. It's not so smart. This is my phone, okay? I don't have a smartphone. I'm not so smart, right? Why should my phone be smarter than me? You ask your phone any question. You ask your phone any question, it answers you. Don't you feel stupid? Your phone, this little thing knows more than you, right? Whatever her name is. What's that Jewish name that you asked? Siri, right? Siri. I remember the first time I met Siri was one of my boys, may have been you, I'm not sure, who had an iPhone here in California. We were in the car. He's like, Rabbi, I just got an iPhone. I'm like, really? He says, yeah. You know, there's this girl that lives in my phone. I didn't know anything about this. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, check it out. The button and the little thing makes those waves, and he says, do you love me? And I'm sitting there like, I cannot believe this. And she answers, not yet, but we can work on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are just going to get married to a phone. That's amazing. And then, you get married to that, and then you get married to your GPS. The GPS is amazing. Best wife, right? You have that English-speaking girl on the GPS, right? And you're like, you totally don't listen to her. She says, make a right. You're like, no! I'm going to make a left! And you make a left in her face! She doesn't get angry. She says, recalculate. What a wife! Wouldn't that be the best wife in the world? You come in there, she says, sit down. You're like, no! She's like, okay, recalculating. You don't have to sit in the chair, you go to the sofa. So I'm like, I get very nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, what do they do here? So this is the true thing. Now it changed a little bit. Maybe they heard my share. We're going way back. We're going back to the iPhone when it first came out. So I said, well, she wasn't in when it first came out, like the third one. So I said to her, let's see if she's an atheist or a believer. I don't know if it was with you, but you would remember this. And I said, could you tell me, did God create the world? The thing goes around. I'm sorry, I don't have that information. So she didn't say yes, she didn't say no. I'm like, you listening? You want to go out with an atheist girl? The whole thing is a bluff. So yes, you need it for business, and use it for business. But how much business do we need it for? I'm telling you, I deal with children. You don't understand, you're killing your kids. There are 3-year-olds and 5-year-olds that go on your phones, and they're able to make pictures bigger, and they're able to get to Bugs Bunny and sometimes to the wrong things. That's something that, like a knife needs to be used to cut the challah, to cut your meat, to cut your chicken. But it's only need to be used for the things it needs to be used to. You can't have people running around with knives. This is the beauty of Shabbos, is that for 26 hours, you're with your family. And whoever thinks you're addicted, if you have 2 days Yom Tov and then a Shabbat, that's 3 days without a phone. And you're able to do it. It's so important that 1 hour, I'm begging you, try it at home. If you can't do it, then you really need help. Just 1 hour, Tati, Mommy, Abba, Ima, and the kids. And the kids are going to have a hard time doing it also. It's like, you guys, we all mean more to each other. And let's start talking about our lives. Instead of them going online and talking to the wrong people and getting the wrong answers. So I sent you a lot of messages tonight. Make your family beautiful. Make Shabbat beautiful. Be there for your kids. They think you love the one that you're on the phone with all day. I do this all the time. I'm a principal, so I deal with little kindergarten kids, and I love to ask them questions because they don't have filters. If you ask them, so your parents get along? Rabbi Wallerstein, my father kicked my mother this morning, and then she kicked them back, and then they started throwing strawberries at each other. I'm like, okay, I don't want to hear anymore. Enough, right? So you don't ask them any questions because they don't have a filter. They just say whatever they say. So, before your kid goes to school, say, shh. Anyone ask you any questions? Shh. If you say one word, I will chop your head off when you get home. So this little girl, her name is Zecharia, cutest little kindergarten kid. She's a little bit sad. So I went over to her and said, Zecharia, who does your mommy love the best in the world? Or did this backfire? She looks at me, Gitti. It's supposed to be Zecharia, not Gitti. That's not why I asked her. I said, no, not Gitti, Zecharia. She goes, no, Gitti. I'm like, oh, so you have a little baby sister Gitti? Because who else is she going to hate? No, I don't have any sisters. They get this like, what do you know? I'm like, so who's Gitti? It's my mommy's best friend in the whole world. I'm like, but you're mommy's best friend in the whole world. No, I'm not. I'm like, why are you saying that? Because my mommy always talks to her on the phone. So she's her best friend. She doesn't talk to me a lot. Oh, you're saying, oh? If I met your kids and asked them that question, you might get the same answer. It sounds terrible when you hear it about someone else. That's their picture of what love is. Time. You can buy all the books. There's a lot of books. How to get along with your wife. How to bring up your children. All this stuff, burn it. Pesach, you have a big fire, throw it in. It doesn't work unless it's mixed with time. So if you give your children, or wife or husband time, then you need a book on what is time, when is time, what is focused time. The books are great. But to read the books and not give them time, you're wasting your time. The reason in English we call time present is because it's the greatest present you can give. So maybe this Chanukah, It'd be nice to sit around the table and everyone should put their phones in the middle of the table and turn them off and talk about the miracles of life, of waking up in the morning, of going out and making a living, of having a child. There's miracles in everybody's life. And maybe if we do that, and we give this pure one night of Chanukah, just this purity on Shabbat to God, and we'll see the greatest miracle of all. And we'll see the menorah once again with pure oil in the Beis HaMikdash. Thank you very much for coming tonight.